Good morning.
Becky Tweedy, Meals on Wheels.
Yes.
Tell us what your position is.
I'm communications director. So it is my pleasure and responsibility to share about Meals on Wheels with everyone I can. And
That's
I
awesome.
appreciate this opportunity.
I am so glad you're here. And I have to tell you, this is our 8th or ninth podcast, and we've got about another 50 to go so far.
Great.
And they're lining up, and they're calling, and they're inquiring. So you don't have to worry about anything. I do a lot of research.
Great.
Your website is off the hook. It's amazing.
Thank you.
800 volunteers, 139,000 meals,
Last year. Yes.
11,000 meals each month.
Yes. Yes.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of meals.
That's
Yes.
a lot. The coordination of all of that has to be crazy.
I just feel like you set me up for that. That's perfect. Our director of operations texted one morning last week, and he said, just so you know, I was doing some calculations, and each year I attend to roughly 2 million data points, information about the food, about the meals. He's in the kitchen, and about each meal. And then I touch over 1 million items each year, and that's based on the 139,000 meals that we serve. It's a lot of details, a lot of information, a lot of things to juggle. But what's more than that is, or what's so meaningful, is that we are able to translate all that data into a personal connection, a smile in the doorway, a hug, a conversation, a relationship with someone who is homebound.
It's amazing. So in 2019, you all celebrated 45 years.
That's right.
2.5 million plus meals in that time.
Exactly. And so you might be interested to know that this fall we will be reaching another milestone.
3 million.
3 million, yes.
Yes.
And next year's our 50th
Your
anniversary.
50th anniversary,
Right.
yes. And you all have no state or federal funding.
Right. That's a real value to us and to the community. You know, a lot of organizations do receive government money, and that's fine. Along with that government money comes government restrictions and
That's right.
parameters, and documentation and a lot of bureaucracy that comes along with it. And so, by not accepting that for our programs, we are at liberty to serve all ages and all incomes. That's a really important distinctive for us, because people don't wait to turn 60 before they might become homebound. They can become homebound for any reason, and that affects, again, all ages, all incomes. So I think a lot of people, when they hear Meals on Wheels, they think senior population, they think low income. Yes, we do serve those demographics, but we also serve the 40-year-old who started having seizures, and she could no longer work, and it wasn't safe for her to stand and prepare a meal for herself, and so we've served her for a number of years. There are all sorts of reasons that people will become homebound.
Well, on the website, I was looking at the application process, which is detailed enough but simple enough, which was great. I was surprised to see that there isn't really an income situation there. There is, but there isn't, because, and you can define it this way, 80% of your people, I believe, don't pay at all. Some pay on a portion, some on a sliding scale. How does that work?
So the cost of our meals is $5.45 a day.
Yes.
That translates into about $27 a week, $110 a month. That's $1,300 a year. Some people can afford to pay that, and they are glad to pay that.
Yes.
Others cannot. They can't afford it, and so we provide it at no cost to them through the generosity of this community and all of our fundraising. We have a program staff that when we get a request, they follow up. They ask the questions. They ask, is our finances a concern? and we have a very simple, there's not a lot of red tape, a very simple question and answer series of, and we look at net income. You know, a lot of people might have some resources on a monthly basis, but you come to find out it's all gobbled up in medication or healthcare expenses or that sort of thing. And so we don't we trust people to share appropriately with us what their expenses are, and when it's determined that the need is there, then we provide the meal at no cost to them. I should know this off the top of my head, 50% of the people that we serve actually live below the federal poverty line. So that means their income is
incredibly low.
Very low.
Incredibly low.
Yes.
And one of the things that I was reading on the website, and I think that people don't think about this, I do because my mother had a form of Alzheimer's, it sometimes can be simply because it's dangerous for that person to function in the kitchen.
Exactly. So it looks very different. You know, we talk about this with our volunteers. It may not always be obvious why we're serving someone. Yes, sometimes folks are on a walker, in a wheelchair. You can see that they have mobility issues. Other times, you might have a sprite little 89-year-old answer the door and carry on a conversation, like my mother, who could carry on a conversation for a few minutes, and you think, why in the world is she?
That's right.
But the fact is, she didn't know not to put certain things in the microwave, or you know how to operate the microwave, or you know, it was not at all safe for her to be in the kitchen. So our criteria, that's a good segue to our criteria for service. We serve the city of Lynchburg and into each of the surrounding counties. And that service area is only restricted or defined by food safety. We need, our meals are prepared hot, fresh each day. And so Monday through Friday, we are out delivering those meals, and we need to keep the meals hot. So from the time they're picked up by the volunteers and then delivered on a route, we allow 90 minutes.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that the food is safe. So criteria for service are that you live in our service area, that you are homebound, and as we were saying, that doesn't necessarily mean bedridden or that you never leave your home. You may be able to ride with your family to go shopping or to go to church or to get your hair done, but it does mean that you either have mobility issues of some sort. It's not safe for you to go out by yourself. It's not, you can't stand long enough. Maybe if you've just had knee surgery or hip surgery, you can't stand long enough to prepare a meal. And the third criteria is that, again, you cannot prepare a meal, an appropriate meal, or don't have someone who can prepare an appropriate meal for you. So, you know, all sorts of, again, because we don't accept government money, we can look at each situation and see where the need is and who needs to be served.
And one of the counties has, is it Amherst County that has a distribution?
No, so Rustburg.
Rustburg, okay.
We deliver, we have a pickup location in Rustburg, and so that helps us serve that area
Further.
a little bit further out, yes. So we have 4 pickup locations. Our meals are prepared in the kitchen at Virginia Baptist Hospital. So we have a wonderful partnership with Centra. And I will just insert here that we taste test the meals we get on a regular basis. The meals are really well done. They're very good. But they're prepared at Virginia Baptist. And then a certain number of our routes pick up from there, from Virginia Baptist. Some pick up from Schul's parking lot on Timberlake Road, and that serves that area more effectively and efficiently. And then others are brought down to downtown and picked up from Clay Street from the parking lot at St. Paul's, where our office is.
That's awesome.
Yes. So,
and I didn't realize, so Meals on Wheels was actually created by Red Cross in England.
Yes.
And then this is amazing to me. It says Meals on Wheels America, 220 million meals, 2.4 million Americans. That is unbelievable.
It's amazing, and it's a very so there's a national organization, Meals on Wheels America, located in Arlington, or headquartered, and it's sort of that loose, tight structure. You pay dues to belong. They do a lot of advocacy and training and offer all sorts of opportunities. Every Meals on Wheels organization in each locality is different and unique. I mean, the joke at national conferences, if you've seen one, you've seen one, because everyone is structured a little bit differently to suit the precise needs of the community that you serve. And so some in larger metropolitan areas, some might be umbrella services. They might be, for instance, in Richmond, there's the food bank and the kitchen, the community kitchen, and the congregate meals and the Meals on Wheels all come out of the same cluster right there. And we have looked at all sorts of options here over the years, but where we have landed is that this is the most efficient operation for our community, and so it seems to be working.
It does work. It does work. And I did make some notes. 80%, and this is, I think, 2022, of your people get their meals at no charge. 12% pay full price for their meals, and 9% are on a sliding scale.
Yes.
So to furnish free of charge to 80% of these people in need in the community is unbelievable.
The support from this community is amazing. We're supported by faith communities. So many churches support us, not only financially, but also with volunteers. Businesses, individuals, of course, corporations, and then we've applied for some grant monies. We do some fundraisers. We have a couple of really nice fundraisers.
We're going to talk about those.
Oh, good. But it is such a blessing to work in an organization that people seem to enjoy supporting, whether it's with their dollars, with their time and energy, or just like with their advocacy, like you're doing right now. We appreciate that so much.
It's awesome. We love doing this. So the Anna Meals program.
Yes.
So people can donate food, not funds.
That's correct.
And then the food is distributed along with the meals because the people were feeding their food to the animals.
When you are homebound, we all got a taste of it during COVID when we're not going out as much. And if that is your lifestyle, if that is we're back out and doing things now, but the folks that we serve remain homebound. And when you don't have any, if you live alone and you're homebound, then any companionship is critical. And so pets, and there's all sorts of data on the health benefits of having a pet as
Most
a companion. But if you have that situation and you're also financially strapped, then you're going to do what you need to do to feed that little buddy.
Yes.
And it's not healthy for the person, for the recipient, or for the pet. So this was started some years ago, and as you said, we do not accept monetary donations for that, but we do accept donations of pet food, canned or dry. We have the veterinary clinics around town and several other spots around town are so gracious in helping us collect that food as collection spots. And we've had different groups that also did pet food fundraisers, pet food raisers, which is fun. We've had some children who decided for their birthday parties they didn't need more presents, that if come to my party and bring some pet food, and then they would bring it and donate it. So you're never too young to start thinking about other people and ways that you can be philanthropic.
That's amazing, because for my 40th birthday party, it was at the Boonesboro Roden Club, and I asked for donations of pet food for Lynchburg Humane. And we filled up 2 entire trailers. Yes. It was amazing.
Yes.
So what if somebody does something like that? Where do you store that?
We have an animals room. we have a little.
It should probably be big.
It is. It has been renovated several times,
Mhm.
and we have it's again so all volunteer driven, and it is amazing. We have one person who goes around to those collection points on a regular basis and picks up the food and brings it to us, and we have another person who comes in on a regular basis and sorts and organizes and then packages up for, and then once a month we have a list of people who have pets on the roster,
Mhm.
and we take and we can't always guarantee that it will be a month's supply, but it's a hefty supplement, if not everything you need.
That's great. And when I hear people say that the elderly people, or either people that are, their finances are low, they don't have a lot of income, people say, oh, well, they shouldn't have a pet. And I always say to people, you need to Google that. We can Google everything.
Right.
The happiness,
Yes.
the lack of loneliness,
Right.
the companionship. Actually, whether it's man, woman, or child, there's nurturing instincts.
Absolutely.
And when they have something to take care of, it gives them a
It's a
reason to live
get
each
up.
day.
It's a
Mhm.
reason to get up each morning, and it's so interesting you would say that. We have heard that comment on occasion. We have also heard the comment about, well, then they shouldn't have internet. Why are they spending money on internet or TV or whatever? And again, I mean, and we know that can get excessive as well. But if you are homebound, if you're isolated, that is your connection to the outside world.
Mhm.
So whether it's, and of course with the pet, as you said, the nurture, the reason to get up, which brings, I should let you ask
You go
ask the
right
questions,
ahead.
but it brings us to the daily delivery of the meal, which our volunteers are so amazing. And yes, they deliver a hot, fresh meal each day at lunchtime, at noontime. But it's not just the food. It is the relationship.
Yes.
It's the safety check. It's knowing that someone's going to knock on the door. They're going to lay eyes on you. That's peace of mind for family. A lot of times, knowing that that someone's going to check on mom or dad, and it's another set of eyes. It is. For the recipient, again, it's a reason to get up and get dressed. We had a woman, a recipient, recently. She's so sweet. I went and talked with her, and she was dressed to the nines. I mean, she just looked adorable. And I complimented her, and she said, listen, if these folks can get up every morning and come out in all sorts of weather and bring me a meal, the least I can do is look my best when I open the door. Who wants to open the door and see somebody in a bathrobe and stringy hair? And I just thought that's her reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives her purpose, and it serves more than one purpose.
Well, and it's odd because I've been in the real estate business 42 years, and I've never had happen what I'm going to share with you. And that is that I got a call last week about listing a property. And this is a local Lynchburg property. The lady that owned the property had been in her home for 5 weeks. Dead. And of course, that's the coroner's opinion. But also, her dog was dead. So 5 weeks, and I find it so amazing that not even a neighbor would notice that this person hasn't surfaced. I mean, you would think that the person would at least let the dog out or walk the dog, but maybe not able to, but needed that companionship, and the fact that this dog and this lady. And of course, I'm sure she passed first, and then the dog wasn't fed. It was a horrible situation. But 5 weeks is the conclusion.
So it is a safety check, and it is, and we've had our own local experiences with the value of that. I mean, we had one woman, this was some years ago, but she was in a wheelchair, and she had an Afghan over her lap, lap robe, and she was rolling, and the Afghan got tangled up in the wheelchair wheel and locked it up, and she couldn't go forward, she couldn't go backwards, she couldn't get up, she couldn't reach the phone. And this was, late in the evening, and she sat there all night, and she said, the whole night I was just thinking, if I could just hold on till 11 o'clock, I know they're going to knock on the door. I mean, it is a recurring theme, and our volunteers are so wonderful. They have come across things, not often, not every week, not every month, but periodically it will happen, and they are, and it's more than, so those are the crisis issues, but there are also the knowledge and awareness when they have that regular interaction. We've gotten a number of calls where someone will say, Mr. Dawson, he answered the door today, but he just didn't sound right. I don't, y'all mind checking on that? And then, we can follow up directly, or we can call their emergency contact. Here's the thing that is so stunning to us is that there are a huge percentage of the people we serve do not have an emergency contact. I mean, that means there is not a neighbor, there is not a family member, not just locally. There's not even somebody out of town, out of state that we can call. I mean, some of them, a lot of them, too many of them are far away, too far away to do something immediately. But at least they have, a kind of, there are a number of them that don't have anyone. And so that just makes what we do all the more critical.
It makes it so much more important.
Yes.
It really does. So 1 in 6 seniors face hunger. And this was something that amazed me because everybody thinks they have security in every way. And 1 in 3 elderly live alone, and 50% of those people are over the age of 85, living alone.
The aging population is exploding. Today, 12,000 people in the United States will turn 60, and tomorrow another 12,000, and the day after that another 12,000. So we are aging at such a rapid pace. But yes, that statistic about how many over 80, and that's when, of course, we're becoming more and more vulnerable. So our goal is to, the tagline that we use a lot is delivering independence, nourishing both body and spirit. When folks eat well and are well nourished, it's an upward spiral. So you think better, you're more stable, you increase your chances of being able to remain at home where you want to be independently for longer.
Yes.
So, and of course the opposite is true as well. If you are by yourself and you're not eating well, you can't fix an appropriate meal. Our director was meeting with someone one time and said, "So what have you had to eat today?" And he said, "Well, I had a Coke and some potato chips this morning, and that's not a good diet." And so you do that for a while because that's all you feel like doing. Next thing you know, you're a little bit shaky, and you walk across the room and you trip and fall, and you've broken a hip, and then you're in the hospital. I mentioned that a year of meals from Meals on Wheels is $1,300. That's less than a day in the hospital. That's less than a day in any long-term care facility. Think of the value of that investment in health and well-being.
It's amazing. So we've got a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So I'm going to challenge you to the rush.
Oh, okay.
All right. So it's not just meals. There's Blizzard boxes. There's your visitor program, recognizing birthdays. You have a card program where people are sent cards, and I guess elderly people I guess I'm elderly because I love getting a card in the mailbox. I mean,
does.
it's the email, it's the this, it's the that. Send me a card, write me a
Yes.
note. It's awesome. So you've got those programs, but you have fundraisers.
Yes.
The golf tournament, which is May
Tournament.
9th at Boonesboro Country Club, and you have something called Wheels Up.
It is a wonderful fundraiser. In September, it runs for the month of September. It is an online destination raffle. Travel Lovers is our major sponsor for this, and along with a number of other sponsors. But we select, the committee is in the process of selecting destinations for this year's Wheels Up, and we sell raffle tickets to 4 different destinations. It is it's not the travel itself, but it is accommodations in 4 different locations. We have domestic and international. We've done great trips, and ticket price is $110, which you will recognize as the price of a month of meals. And we only sell 100 tickets to each destination. So your odds of winning are at greatest 1 in 100.
That's awesome.
And Travel Lovers, I will tell you this quick caveat, is Travel Lovers is so gracious. If you win a trip to Costa Rica and you think, oh gosh, I wish I'd taken that trip to Scotland, they'll let you trade in your trip. They'll let you plan the trip that you want to take. But we are promoting 4 destinations.
That's amazing. So Wheels Up, you have the golf tournament. Is there something else?
Well, just recently, Jersey Mike's was our they selected us as the beneficiary of their month of giving.
Yes.
And that was March was a super month, and that's such a gracious partner, Jersey Mike's. So make sure you support them.
Well, and I also read that Jersey Mike's has given over $67 million for local charities, which is
Isn't that
amazing.
amazing?
It's unbelievable. And just a couple of more things because I want people to know this. If people not only need lunch, but they need supper, there's situations where they are delivered a cold supper with their hot lunch.
That's correct.
And then if there's a holiday, then you deliver the lunch, and then you deliver the lunch for the holiday.
So we deliver Monday through Friday. Now, since the hospital is producing our meals, they're open all the time, and so we are transitioning now to just every holidays, no matter what, we deliver every Monday through Friday.
And I was trying to think, is there anything else that you can think of? I do have one thing. 2022, you all had 850 volunteers, 28,000 hours of volunteer work, 218,856 miles driven. Here's the thing that I don't think people think when they think about Meals on Wheels. 4,013 emergency calls handled.
Yes.
I mean, so you're saving lives through bringing nutrition, but you're also saving lives through the human eye contact, being there, feeding their animals, making sure or trying to make sure as best you can within your organization and the realm of the law, if we will, because everybody's so protective of everything today, that these people are okay.
Yes.
And that they're able to eat.
And that's a follow-up, Mr. So-and-so is always here. I knocked on the door multiple times. He didn't answer. Now, maybe he got delayed at the doctor's office, and it's totally benign. But we called to follow up to make sure, because maybe he did fall and is in the bathroom, and can't get up.
Well, and I'm gonna close with this, and it's very important to me because I took care of my mother for 12 years in my home, and kudos to the millennials that everybody chooses to target and talk about for some reason. 75% of millennials stated that they would more likely take a pay cut to work for a socially responsible company.
That's good information. That's in it.